If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Hello and welcome to Saratoga Today on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your host, Noah Maher, joined by good friend and co-host of Picks and Ponies, Paul Halloran, as we're going to be taking you through today's early pick 5 at the Spa. Thanks for joining us this morning. Scrolling on the bottom of the screen, you can see our normal weekly shows, Wednesday nights, Thursday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern and 9:30 Eastern at various times. So go ahead and check out our live shows during the week. In addition to this show here on Saturday morning, you can listen to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. You can go follow us and the podcast on X right there at HHH Racing Pod. We've got the regular Power Picks tip sheet. I believe Howard did those today and sent those out just a couple hours ago. He's got Saratoga and Colonial Downs for their Million card this Saturday. Don't want to screw that up for those that have a sore subject there. But those two wonderful cards are on there. And then you can go find out more about us at our website right there, hhhracingpodcast.com. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is we do have the morning show. That is not it, but we do have the morning show. I don't know if we have a banner for it. We've got the live show today, Weekend Warriors. I know Howard. I'm not sure if you'll be there, Paul. We've got Brad, Patrick, Matt, Kyle, all from that First Turn Gazebo. They're going to be doing the Weekend Warriors live show today. So if you're around watching the races and you want to see what those boys have to say, they'll be doing that live show from there. So go ahead and check that out during the day today. Paul, I think that's everything that we need to be taken care of. We can go ahead and get into it. But just another lovely morning here at the Spa.
Yeah, you and I talked before we came on. I think our crew, apparently they're watching. They're in the chat. We like that. Getting phenomenal weather. We ended up getting great weather last weekend after the Thursday rain. Friday, Saturday, Sunday were great. I think it's even a little cooler, and it's not unusual up there for, once you head toward the Travers, for the temperatures to start going down a bit, especially at night and in the morning. So we wish our crew a happy day out there. No, before we start, I think we should congratulate. I don't know if you're aware, but if you follow social media, apparently Shedeur Sanders is going to be inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame retroactively because he had 2 touchdown passes in a preseason game.
I heard that they were going to do it just because he led them to a touchdown on his first drive. So
yeah, well, so they had the ceremony a few weeks ago, so everyone will be forced to go back to Canton, and they are going to give him his yellow jacket. I'm watching. This has nothing to do with Saratoga, but I'm watching idiots like Skip Bayless say how everyone in the NFL was wrong because they didn't pick him. It's the first goddamn preseason game, you idiot. Okay, now on to the race.
Awesome. Let's go to the chat before we get into the pick 5. I do have to mention
Happy birthday to Katie. Happy birthday to Katie. Happy birthday to Katie. Happy birthday to Katie.
John Kinzerski is here. He's asking how Saratoga is treating the HHH Racing team. Bob Segura. Bob, you make a good point. I forgot to mention that. The boys will be at the Jim Dandy Bar, I believe, at is it noon, Paul, or is it 12:30? It's sometime about a half hour before the races.
Yeah, I think I would put 12:30, thinking it was going to be 1, but first post is 12:35. So whenever you get there early. Uncle Howard will be glad to buy you a drink.
Oh yeah, and they'll be loud and cheerful for sure. So you'll know the crowd when you see them. Phil Adams is here. Good morning. Tanner Hawkins says good morning. Chris Walsh is going to be doing the tech side of things today during the live show. He's here. Good morning, Noah. And Paul Brad, of course, from the group. He says greetings from Saratoga. Looking forward to some great insights. I don't know about that, but we're going to do our best. And Matt Miller, no bedhead. Yes, it is. It's just after 7 here on the West Coast, so it's a little early for my blood. That is for sure. But we'll go ahead and get into the pick 5, Paul. Let me get the Equibase up on the screen, and there it is right there. First post, 12:35 Eastern, like you said. Starts with a state bred allowance optional claimer, 45,000, running for $100,000, and they're going 6 furlongs on the main track. You can see the field. It's a smaller field of 6, but a contentious field for that matter. It's the morning line favorite goes to the 4, 9-5. In the 4, I'm wide awake for Santana and Cassie. And the second choice is to the inside in the 1, What's Up Bro for Irad and Linda Rice. Let's get our picks up on the screen for the early pick 5 kickoff. And I'm going 5-4-1, and you're going 5-4-1. I'm going 4-5-1. So used to saying my name first, but Paul, thought I'd change it up a little bit. What other host on the show would let you go first?
Wow, what an honor! Yeah, we're thinking the same way. Obviously the 4 makes sense based on that last race just fell apart late, and he stayed on pretty well. Jackson Heights, which is a Zilla racing horse, came from like 15 out of it on the far turn, and the race in the last 16th or maybe even last 32nd really fell apart. So the 4 gets credit for that. That's kind of one of the reasons, though. No, I went with the 5. I think this race could be one from behind. I think it could be contentious. Time form doesn't agree with me, but we disagree often. I think the 5 is the numbers really work off the last race, and that type of race, mid-pack closing and getting up, I think could go. Now the 4, based on the last race, could just not stop today because I say everyone else fell apart and he kept running. But I'm going to Kendrick Caramouche was fairly hot. This horse has won 2 in a row at Aqueduct. The horse has a win up here, broke his maiden up here 2 years ago, pardon me, not last year. And I think has a chance to get there from an outside post.
Yeah, and it's no secret that there's definitely some speed to his inside, right? And things could certainly work out well for him. I'm not going to go ahead and go that far in saying that this is a simple race, because it's not. But it seems like if you go with the speed, you probably go with the 4. And if you go with a closer and to maybe set things up, you probably go with the 5. So I think we're thinking similarly there. I'm wide awake, like you mentioned, Paul. Just got really, really leg weary late. But that was the first time he actually tried 7, I think, at least in a long time. I don't know if that was the first time he stretched out to 7 panels in his career. But he set a blistering pace that day. Not sure he really had to go that fast, but cuts back to 6 today. I do like that he's the most outside drawn speed. So I think that does work to his advantage. I think he's probably quick enough to clear from there anyways. But if he does clear, I think he will be pretty tough with the cutback 2 6 furlongs today. And then the only other one that we've got in the mix, Paul, is the 1, and that's What's Up Bro. Another speedy type, probably not as fast as the 4, but if things don't go well for the 4, like they didn't do last time, I think he's one that could be dangerous if you leave him alone.
Well, and doesn't he have the potential to make the 4's life a little difficult? Breaking from the rail, you got to think Irad's going to be aggressive. This horse went to the lead both the previous 2 races. To answer your question, Noah, the 4 only went 7 one other time, second career race, which was at Churchill all the way back in November of 22, and pressed the pace and ran 5th. So clearly the cutback is definitely an advantage for the 4. But that was part of my reasoning in picking the 5. No, I think horses like the 1 could make life difficult for the 4, and even the 3 just inside. Linda Rice has 2 in here, so they're both not going to let the 4 just canter around there.
And even the 2's quick too. You see the 2 was just a length off of the 4 early, and he actually ended up passing the 4 late. He's got a 123. I know it doesn't necessarily compare to the 132 that the 4's got. I mean, you got some serious speed in this field for sure. And like you said, even the Linda's got the other Linda, for LSU Stables, a new acquisition, has got some speed as well. So interesting.
And we should say, Noah, the 2 gets credit for. We talked about the 4 sticking around. The 2 ran second all the way around the track. Maybe the race didn't fall apart as much as we think. I know Jackson Heights came from far, far back, and there were others coming with him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what plays out in the first race. We'll move on to the next race, race 2, it is a 17.5 claimer. Let me get that up on the screen right now. 17.5 claimer on the main track, 3-year-olds and up, going 7 furlongs. You can see the field up on the screen. And the morning line favorite goes to the number 8 all the way to the outside in Glint for similar combo in IRAD and Linda Rice. And then the second choice is the 3 rivalry for Jose Ortiz and Jose D'Angelo at 3-1. There are our picks up on the screen now. Paul, we got different top picks, but thinking similarly for the second and third spots. I'm going with a 2 ride up. You're going with the 3 rivalry, who I mentioned for the team of Jose's. What do you like about this runner?
Katie mentioned the scratches are out, so we'll keep an eye on those. I haven't seen them yet, but Jose's pretty good in this this situation. 2 off the claim, he's 14%. Noah, as I know, I'm sure you're aware, your adopted home tracks in Kentucky, those horses are running very well, shipping up to Saratoga again this year. I really I'm a big fan of the cutback from 9 to 7 furlongs in general, and obviously included in this spot. You pick up IRAD, who has done well with Jose. I just think there's a lot of things. The 8, I think, is formidable because Linda spots them where they're supposed to be spotted, right? And this horse is taking a pretty good drop from 30 down to 17.5. Although the 30, same category, non-winners of 3. So, I think the 3 has the potential to set a pretty good pocket trip. The horse is one of those horses that can lead, but doesn't necessarily have to. I think he will be very forward in this race, however, and probably have to go catch the 8. And I think he will.
Well, I got good news and bad news for you, Paul. The good news is the scratches are in, and the 5 is out in this race, which does not affect our picks. However, the 5 is scratched in the previous race, your top pick. So that is a bit of a problem.
Trust the trust fund. Well, then I'll be scratching into the 4 then.
Yeah, it looks like it. I'll try to update those as we go. I'm trying to look at them to see if there are really any other significant scratches that I need to mention, but I think that's probably the most important that I see, at least in terms of the early pick 5. Let's talk about some others. Agree with a lot of the sentiments you made about the 3 rivalry. We'll see if he's able to prove that he can stalk and pounce with that kind of stalking trip, as you say. Let's go to the 8 Glint. I mentioned the morning line favorite. And you're absolutely right, Paul. I mean, Linda just spots her horses really, really well. This horse has been running at the 30,000 non-winners at 3 level, drops in for 17.5, I believe, cuts back to 7 furlongs today as well, which I think is perfect. I want to get your take on this because I really don't know what to do with the Wilson shoot. He ran in the Wilson shoot last time and was down on the inside, and things just did not go well for him. But then switches to a really nice outside post today. I think that could work wonders for him today.
Yeah, I'm laughing because my good friend, Dr. Jeff NYRA, who I just spent a fabulous 8 days with in Saratoga as part of our Beacon Hill Drive, Beacon Hill house. We were just joking about it. He just says he can't figure it out. And the one thing I notice out of that Wilson shoot, Noah, is it seems like early in the race, almost invariably, it's like Dodgem cars. For those of us old enough to remember the Dodgem cars at the carnival. It just doesn't. Well, I guess if you look at it, all you got to do is drive down Nelson Ave, and when you get to the Wilson chute on your left, make note of it, and then make note of how little time it takes you to get to where they have to bend. Into the backstretch. And it's it's not a 90-degree turn, but it's a fairly sharp turn. So there is a lot of contact. I would agree with you that I think you're better off being out of the fray, so to speak, as this 8 is on the outside.
Yeah, and I think that, like I said, is going to do him some good today. let's talk about the horse that I've got on top, and that's the number 2 right up. Flying P Stable. I'm sure, Paul, you're very, very familiar with them as they've had success at this Saratoga meet in the past. He's going to be third off the layoff here. You can see 2 back. He ran in a race where the second place finisher came back and won. That's actually come back to be a pretty live race. You can see there were 3 next out winners in there. And then last time, I don't know if you saw this, Paul, but I'll bring it up. He was 5-2 in a very similar spot. And he is the 6 in this race that we're about to show you. You can see he is going to break not so well in the back of the pack. And there wasn't a lot of speed signed on that day, and tried to make a little middle move and just never got super involved that day. So I'm going to excuse him for that. He's got, buyers and time forms that are really not far off some of the favorites in here. And as you know, as well as everyone else does, Paul, Ricardo Santana, he is riding absolutely lights out right now. Just getting horses to the winner's circle time and time again. So I think it's a plus that he hops on today, and I think he's got a big shot in here.
Yeah, Jay Provenzano, speaking of putting horses with, he wants to win races at Saratoga. He plays the claiming game extremely well, uses multiple trainers. And this is an example. Now, this horse is staying at the same level as the last 2 races, but as you mentioned, comes out of a tough field, 2 back, and obviously you can excuse him for the last race. Other than Kilwin won the test by breaking worse than that, which is another story for another day.
Yes.
So yeah, and 5-1 morning line. David Aragona is pretty sharp. That's also, I think, a little bit of an indication that this horse is fairly live here. So I think that's a good pick. Now I don't really like the race, to be honest with you. I guess we're down to 7 now with the 5 scratched. But I think you could make a decent case for, I don't know, 5 of them, maybe 6 of them.
Yeah, I mean, we've got horses to the outside that we don't necessarily have, but gonna leave Flavian Pratt off a ticket in a wide open 17-5 claimer, probably not. And then Shipman, he got the lead last time, and I think he could show some speed again. The one horse that we will talk about and then move on to the next race is Hours in a Day. This is the other Linda per se, and he owns this 4-year-old by Gunrunner as well. Paul, I guess the big question is, can he run back to that 16 numbers to 2 last time? Because he ran an absolute hole in the wind. Granted, that was all the way back at the end of November.
Yeah, and that was a voided claim, and that this is one of the frustrations. We really don't have all the information on that. A lot of times it's paperwork. Obviously, it could be a physical. I've seen a little chatter on social media the last few weeks that the vets at this meet are being kind of over aggressive in voiding claims. So I don't know how much stock you can put in that. What you can put stock in, that one condition below this, as you said, at a mile distance, the 1-turn mile at Aqueduct, this horse ran really well. Another example, this horse is spotted obviously where he's supposed to be. This is the condition he has left. Jose Lescano is one of Linda's main guys. And this is one of those horses, Noah, that wins and you get knocked out of the pick 5 and you're like, how did I let that 5-1 Linda horse knock me out of the pick 5?
Yeah, and you make a good point. I think yesterday, was it Valenzen Day I saw that one, and there were 4 or 5 shakes, and I saw something on Twitter saying that the vets voided that claim as well. But the
horse was 3-5 and won easily.
And I didn't hear anything in terms of information wise after that. So I don't know.
It's hard. Now that we have the stewards coming on TV to explain their decisions, even if we disagree with them, I think we have to be, we have to get the information out on those voided claims in a efficient manner, shall we say? And God knows formula, you can look up, how many times the horse pooped last Wednesday after the workout. So we should be able to add in some voided claim info.
Yeah, you would think so, right? Should certainly be the case. We'll move on to the next race. I'll get that up on the screen here. There it is. Maiden special weight race 3, $90,000 purse. We've got 2-year-old fillies going 5.5 furlongs on the turf. The turf.
Scratch the 4, Noah.
The rails are out at 18 feet, and thank you, Paul. The 4 is out 20-1 morning line. Now, I believe that was a first-time starter for Timothy Hills. But we've still got 8 in the body of the field. Morning line favorite is towards the outside, and the 7 Trading Trouble for Pratt and Maker at 5-2. And then the second choice, the 3 Charlotte's Universe for Jose Ortiz and Mark Cassie. Picks are up on the screen now. We see this one a little different. You're going 7-8-2. I'm going 3-1-7. You're going with Pratt and Maker. Nice second last time in a similar race to some of these other foes, and certainly can get the job done in start number 2.
Yeah, I wrote on my notes here, a winning effort. If you go back and watch that race, it looked like Louis moved at the right time, and he just got nailed right on the wire by Sacred Goddess. That's a really tough beat if you had this horse, this filly at 12-1 last time. Maker doesn't have great numbers second time out, but he does have, obviously, anything on turf. He is formidable with. You go from Saez to Pratt. Obviously, no problem there. And, unfortunately, you get 12-1 last time. You might get 2-1 today. But I hadn't seen the workout reports yet, so I'm not exactly sure what it's going to look like on the 8 and 9. I know Weaver, if you want to make a case for the 8, Weaver, 2-year-old first-time starters in turf sprints is 31% over the last 5 years. So you can have that. The dam of the 8 did win on turf, 1-10 lifetime. But, this 7, proven on turf, was entered on Thursday, didn't run, so we figured to run here. And I just think off that effort is pretty formidable.
Yeah, I think she's got a big shot as well. And she got a pretty handy ride last time because I know the pace was quite hot, especially in that race that some of these other runners are coming out of. I'm kind of with you, Paul. I know you made the case that you don't necessarily love the 12-2 last time and the 5-2 this time. And David Aragona, as we've mentioned time and time again, does a tremendous job. And he's probably right. I think 5-2 is probably accurate on this horse. But I don't want to take 5-2 after she was just 12-1. It's just not in my blood, especially as you mentioned, Maker's not the greatest with 2-year-olds and some of his younger horses. So I just went in a different direction because of that matter. And I think he makes some good points on the 8. I actually wasn't super familiar with the sire of the 8, Galilean. So I looked it up, and he's only had 4 runners so far, and none of them have won yet. So this filly would be the first winner from his side of things. So interested to see. And then I actually don't have the workout report on her as well. So I guess we'll have to watch the board and try to use those tools. I went with the 3 Charlotte's Universe, Paul. She's coming out of the same race, but she was part of that wicked pace, and the horse that she was kind of chasing / dueling with around the far turn finished absolutely nowhere. You can see in the chart, the horse that was on the lead, Bello Banker, was completely nowhere. And I thought she stuck around probably longer than she should have, especially for a first-time starter. And I mentioned the odds earlier, Paul, because she was less than 2-1 on debut, and the 7 was 12-1. And now you're kind of getting a little bit of an odds flip today. So I wanted to go with a longer price, and I think she was probably less than 2-1 for a reason, right? So going with the second-time starter in the 3 Charlotte's Universe, I think she can step up big time today. Let's go. You've got the 8 and the 2. You mentioned the 8, but go ahead and talk about the 2. You mentioned the Kentucky runners doing very, very well, and this one was on dirt last time, but tries turf for the second start.
Yeah, and the mare was 1-for-1 on turf. The Alpines are running on everything. I mean, the Alpine is the hot first crop sire. Mm-hmm. So I just thought that, that was a pretty good effort on dirt. You get a jockey upgrade, shows some confidence to run the horse in this spot to begin with. The 2-year-old maiden specials at Saratoga are going to be tough every day, all day. So, yeah, I just thought this horse was in a same condition on Thursday. Did not get in, and so this filly is entered here, and Dylan has righted the ship. We're happy to say Dylan, who was a very good jockey, had a phenomenal year last year. Just got off to a tough start. Ask Javier Castellano, who's in the Hall of Fame and won 7 Travers. He was like 0 for 45 before that Cassie turf monster bring the band home. Brought him his first win. So, it's tough sledding in the jockey room up here. So, but Dylan was probably, I would say, he's probably 3 wins 10 days ago, a week ago, and now has 10. So he's back on, and I think this horse has a fighting shot from the rail.
Yeah, and to your point, I think I was texting some buddies yesterday, and I was saying, well, Javier's first 2 wins were probably not what he expected, because the first one was on a complete turf monster, and then the other one was on, was it AI, who just came from the absolute clouds yesterday. After that brutal start, talk about brutal starts. I mean, that was as bad as it gets, and he was flying at a huge number up the rail. But yeah, it's a tough colony out there for sure. Last horse we'll mention is the one, My Boston Beauty. I've got her in second. I expect a big improvement from her today. She was kind of detached from the field last time, and was actually closing okay. If you bring up the chart, she was actually closing a little bit faster than even the 7 today. She came home in 41-3, and then the 7 came home in just under 41-4. So I thought there was a little upside here. I know Contessa's not necessarily the greatest with 2-year-olds, but we've seen his 2-year-olds fire on occasion before, Paul. And as much as we love Katie Davis, I think Rosario is going to fit this filly really, really well. Second time, she should get some cover from the inside. Rosario is going to get her more engaged. So I do see things working out a little bit better in her favor today, and I do like the 10-1 on her. So I've got her in the mix. I think this is another tough race. I think races 2 and 3 probably the more difficult races of this early pick 5 sequence. So we'll move on to the next race, and let me get that up on the screen here real quick. And there it is right there, race 4. Allowance, we've going a mile on the inner turf. Inner turf rails are at 18 feet as well. And this race is the return of the number 4 White Palomino, who we saw in some really, really nice races as a 3-year-old last year. He's coming in for Pratt and Chad Brown at 5-2 on the line. He is your morning line favorite. And Paul, let's see if we are trying to beat him. And we are not, my friend. You're going 4-7-6. I'm going 4-3-2. I don't know what you thought, Paul. I kind of went into the race and approached it as trying to beat him, and I was just finding holes in others, and I ended up landing on him, and so did you.
Well, probably no, because fresh in our mind, excuse me, was the finale yesterday where Chad had a horse coming off a 30-month layoff, 3-0. Granted, a maiden race, but it's nice if you're Seth Klarman and you can pay the bills for 30 months without the horse running a step. And favorable scenario getting up in the last race yesterday. So this is not exactly apples to apples, but and it's less of a layoff. It's 13 months. Again, second to Trickery, who at that time last year was running really well by a head. Second to Legend of Time in the Pennine Ridge. Some might say, well, he's bringing him back. He's bringing the horse back in an allowance race. He's not that confident. Well, it's August. There's still a few months left in the year. And, this horse has speed. Like Noah, I went in looking for a way to beat him, but I just, again, maybe because I was handicapping it a few hours after that last race yesterday when that 4 beat me, I just couldn't get by it.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, if he just feels like one that you're supposed to try to beat, right? But he's got talent that we've seen before, and I think this is a not as salty group as maybe some other allowance races that I've seen. I just think the spot fits him really, really well. And he's got that tactical speed, like you mentioned. So I know there are some other speeds, and the main speed is to his inside in the 3 Laurel Valley. But it just seems like, Pratt can just let the 3 go and kind of work out things from there. So I think things are very, very formidable for him on the card. Let's go to your 2 horses that you've got in the mix in terms of second and third. You've got Taraj in second, who frankly I didn't really know what to do with, just because he was so detached from the field last time, going a mile and 3/8, but cuts back. Mott and Lescano, he was favored last time. Obviously, you see things working out well for him with the cutback.
No, I went back and watched it. I think I remember betting him that day, and as you said, he was way back. And this is counterintuitive, but we deal with it a lot. Horses that look like speed horses who are better when they stretch out, and horses who are closers who are better when they cut back. The horse didn't have tremendous form in Europe, but still ran third by a length in a group graded / group race. This is an allowance race. Lescano, I think, will be aggressive. Mott put a pretty good work into the horse in the interim, 4 furlongs and 48 and 4 on the main track. I don't know. I'm just gonna this could be an in Bill we trust pick for me, but I think this horse has a very good chance to make the board if you're playing verticals here. It'd probably be a B or a C on the top line for me, but will be in any exotics I play would be underneath.
Yeah, because I think after the 4, I think you could just make a case for just about anybody. I think you throw it up as we can kind of see with the picks on the bottom, as we've got 4 other horses that we've got in terms of a combined second and third. You've got B of Courage, who ran really, really well last time, but he also opened up 15 on him, going a mile and 1/8. And I don't know if he's necessarily going to do that today, but he's also got he's got a resume where he can obviously come from out of it, and he's run in some good races before. So we'll see what kind of trip works out for him. He's your second choice on the morning line, I believe. And then the 2 horses that I've got, I'll quickly mention the 3 Laurel Valley, who I think, can just kind of take him around there for a long time off the layoff. So he should be fresh. Maker with these turf routers can be very, very dangerous. Rosario, he's plenty capable of putting these turf riders to sleep, especially on the Saratoga turf course. And he's got 2 wins over 4 starts. So if things go well for him and he's able to slow things down, I think he could hang around for a long time. And then Wally World, I didn't want to put him on top. Paul, I don't know if you know this stat, but I believe it's Safi Joseph in turf routes at Saratoga over the last 5 years, 0 for 47, which is not very good. But I think things could work out well for him. Second off the layoff and second off of a nice win at optional claimer 50 last time. I believe that was a first level allowance, but got the job done then. Stepping up to tougher group. I don't know if he's necessarily good enough on the win end, but I wanted to include him in my exotics, as you have said. So we'll move on to the last race on the early pick 5 today, Saturday at Saratoga. There's the field right there. We've got, we're ending it off with $20,000 claimer. They're going 6 furlongs on the main track. And we've got the morning line favoritism going to the entry. I know you love that, Paul, to the 1 and the 1A in Amundsen, and the 1A looms boldly. You've got Carmouche and Gangulio, I believe, and Manny Franco and Brad Cox teaming up there. And then the second choice goes to the 5 Great Richie M for Irad and Rob Atras. Let's see who we're going with to finish things off. You're going 5-1-7, and I'm going 7-5-1. Is that the straight one, Paul? I believe that's probably the straight one for you, correct?
I don't know. What's the difference? These goddamn stupid entries.
Well, you're trying to beat him, in your heart and your mind. With 5.
Yeah, I'm trying to beat him in principle. All my rants aside, it's just incredible how bad a value they are. Whether you you could say, well, you know what? I don't care. I like both. It doesn't matter what you think. Your value is shot to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think the 5. If you look at the time form, Noah, which I did, I think this race is pretty fast. I agree with time form this time. And I want someone who's going to be able to come off of it, not necessarily out of the clouds off of it because they're only going 6 on the dirt, but I think this 5 can sit that trip. Atris, who has not won yet at the meet, is good off the claim. This was a horse that Flying P, there's Jay Provenzano again, put up for 16. Atris bumps him up just a little bit to 20. You can make a case for both of the entries. Our friend Marshall Graham owns the 1A outright and owns the 1 in partnership. So this is nothing against. We love Marshall. I saw Marshall up there last whatever day it was, Saturday, Friday. But I mean, granted they were stakes races, but they were state-bred stakes races, and the 1A really didn't run well in either of them. So you're going to have under 2-1 on him. The 1 is obviously solid, but at the same company last time at 9-5, got beat. So again, if I'm alive in the pick 5, do I want to not have them and get beat by them? Probably not, but within the race, give me someone like the 5, even at 3-1, and I'll be happy. I just not into the whole scene.
Yeah, I mean, if these two are uncoupled, the most likely winner is probably the straight 1. If I had to play that card, I had a bit of a worry. I know the kind of inside outside trip works very well on the turf course. I don't know how well it's going to work for him, especially being 9. I know some of his recent races, he's been parked out really, really well, just kind of on the outside stalking. Now he's got to go inside. I know the 1A and the 3 are quick. He's going to be kind of sitting in the pocket. I don't know if that is necessarily his preferred trip per se, which is why I'm a little against him. I've got him in 3rd. I definitely prefer him over the 1A because I think the 1A is probably going to just show some speed and maybe throw in the towel from there. But I am a little worried, and I'm looking for reasons to try to beat this Paul, not just a principle, but trying to help out the wallet. So I've got him in 3rd, and you make good points about the 5. First off of the claim for Atris, I know you mentioned Atris hasn't won yet, but he's got 5 seconds, and he's had some horses that have run. I feel like it's only a matter of time until he finds the winner's circle. Only other horse that we've got to talk about is the 7 Showtime. We both got him in the mix. Paul, I just kind of think he's the fresh face in here. We've seen what the 1 and the 1A have done. We've seen what the 5's done. I think this is a very ambitious spot to throw this horse in off the layoff. Norm Cassie could have just ran this horse in his backyard at Ellis in a claimer, but decides to ship up to Saratoga, gets his basically main man at this point in Ricardo Santana, and I think he's the one that's going to kind of get that outside stalking trip. So I like his chances at 5-1. Again, a fresh face for me, and obviously you like him a little bit as well.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's an interesting spot, and it could have been one of those, you're shipping horses up here, so room on the van type of deal. But it is, he won't be. I'm sure he won't be heartbroken if he doesn't go back to Kentucky with the horse. But if he could pick up a 20,000 on the claim and another, what's the purse here, 47, another 30 on the win, it's a good day. And back to Santana, we should mention the 6 is scratched in this race, Noah.
Okay.
We didn't. Neither of us had the 6, but the other thing about the straight 1, Noah, I'm glad you brought it up. Did you wake up this morning saying, "Geez, I hope I today can bet a coupled entry undervalued on, and one of the horses is 9 years old"? A lot of people wake up saying that this morning. I think you've got to play a horse like the 7 at 5-1 all day over the entry at 8-5, and you're probably going to get beat half the time, maybe a little more. But those are that drastic difference in odds, right? More than whatever almost 3 times as much. So yeah, I like your point on the 7. I use them as well. I just this would be a race where I would just probably be playing in the horizontals. Maybe bet the 5 to win if he drifts up. Saturdays you got, as you know, Noah, there's a lot of non people that aren't there every day, so to speak, especially at Saratoga.
Yeah.
So there is some of that money in the pool, and you know the simple notion of, if you're new to this and someone says, "Hey, you can get 2 horses for the price of 1," some people are going to say, "Well,
Great,
I'm in."
Yeah.
So they can beat me. I'm sure one of the entries going to run 1-2 now, and people are going to be sitting at home saying, "Boy, that Halloran guy's an idiot." But fortunately for me, I've heard that many times over the last 62 years, so I'm fine with it.
Well, that's fine. If the one of the 1A wins, so they round out the exacta, we can just go ahead and congratulate our good friend Marshall Graham, because he'll
Right.
have the exacta.
That's exactly right. I'd be happy to do that.
Win-win. But yeah, no, I'm with you. I'm trying to get to get paid to find out for sure. So I like the 7's chances. So we'll wrap things up here. Before we do, Paul, a quick snapshot on the Grade 1 Sword Dancer. That's the feature today. What were your thoughts? I know there's a horse that at least one gentleman in our group is very excited to see today. He's sitting at 15 to 1, and that's vote no. But who'd you like in there?
Noah, I picked the 1 on our show the other night, Picks and Ponies. Since that time, it seems everywhere I turn, people like the 1. David Aragona likes the 1.
Man.
It's on one or both of our tip sheets today as a spot play. Spoiler alert. It's a spot play, I think, on 2 different tip sheets. And as I was finishing up my work this morning, Noah, before I slumbered up, I said, I might just bet Nation's Pride, because all I have heard for the last 4 days is Nation's Pride is all done. He's a bet against. He's not as good as he is. Appleby doesn't win in the North America anymore. Wah, 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 like the teacher in Charlie Brown. Wah, 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 wah. And I just might bet Nation's Pride to stick it up all their asses, quite frankly, Noah.
Sometimes you got to do that, right? You got to stick it to the coupled entries. You got to stick it to the people who are riff-raffing about horses that have won all over the country.
I mean, the 1, I should talk about the horse I picked. I talked the other night. Obviously it's a progressive type pick, right? You think this horse can advance coming off of Group 2. Appleby confident enough to ship over here to run in what is always a competitive Group 1. We talked the other night. This is a competitive sword dancer. There've probably been about 40 better editions of it as far as quality. That could be a hyperbole. I don't know that there've been 40. You get the point.
Yeah.
Many. So I'll have the 1 as an A, but geez, I'll tell you, it's all, they're talking about Nation's Pride like he should be running in the New York Derby at Finger Lakes instead of the sword dancer. So I might go a little contrarian here, but Farbridge, Noah, is the horse that's in form. And I thought last year, when he went wire to wire in the sword dancer, I said, gee, that's a horse I just could not have had. It was a great ride by Rosario. He put them all to sleep. That neither of the Godolphins got good rides in that race. Measured Time and Silver Knot. I think you recall that. No, I think you were in the Silver Knot fan club at that time. Were you?
I was. I was car carrier at the time.
You were, but to his credit, throw out the Breeders' Cup because the U.S. turf horses just don't win it. Really, two good efforts this to start the year. Blanket finish in the Manhattan, which again wasn't the best running of it, but was damn competitive running of it. And last time just kind of toyed with them. They didn't need to go to the lead, but they did. Now the word on this horse is he likes to be on the hedge, so it's on Rosario to get the type of trip to get him over. You assume the other jockeys are aware of that fact, but again, this is by far from a definitely need the lead horse. It's just that when you go out to the 1.5 miles, it's more likely that he's going to be on or right near it. But I'll use the 7 a little as a price. El Razine. I think that horse at a big number is possible for the board. I'll use Farbridge kind of defensively. I'll probably have him as an A just because of how good a form he is in. But I'm going to be doing some fiddling. I just tired of hearing about how bad Nation's Pride is all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, he's a quality animal. I think definitely for sure. I know. I won't.
Who do you like, Noah? Tell us who you like.
You know, I'm not going to have much of a betting interest in here, but I will definitely have a rooting interest for Vote No and the good folks at Crown's Way. You know, what an unbelievable story it would be for him to pull it off after they claimed him for $40,000 way back in March. He's just done nothing but progress after that, and I thought he ran a pretty valiant fourth last time in the UN. I know I was listening to Saratoga Live yesterday, and Andy was actually making a little case for him, saying that he didn't get the most ideal trip in the UN, and I completely agree. So 15-1 is a great price on him. I might make a little entertainment bet and a little supportive bet on Vote No, hoping that he gets the job done in the Sword Dancer. But Paul, it's been fun.
Well, the good news is, no, as you know from going to the track, they have an ambulance that follows the, God forbid something happens, they got to grab a jockey or whatever. So if this horse should win and Kyle collapses in the winner's circle,
they'll be ready for it.
There will be medical personnel right on the scene.
I think that's a good chance of happening if
that'd be like 9 to 5, wouldn't it? No.
Oh, definitely.
No, we wish them well. Tony's a great guy, and I'm psyched for Kyle to be up there. I had a small piece of a horse who ran in a jump race when I was up there and got caught in the stretch. It's always exciting, but when you're there, it's a little more exciting. So
it's like Christmas morning, right? It's awesome.
Well, no, I would submit to you that pretty much every day I've spent in Saratoga Springs, and I have spent a lot over the last 40 years, is like Christmas morning.
I love that. We'll end on that, Paul. It's been fun this morning. Thank you guys so much for joining the morning show today on Saratoga Today. Make sure you tune in later because we are going to be having our Weekend Warriors live show this afternoon, and we're going to be showing that from the first turn. Howard, Patrick, not Paul, you're Paul, Brad, and Kyle will all be there. Did I say Patrick already? Matt will be there. I know there's a big group of them. I can't keep track of all those guys. So tune in this afternoon, but thank you so much for joining us this morning. For Paul Halloran, this has been your host, Noah Maher, and a special edition of Saratoga Today and the early pick 5 of Saturday, August 9th. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you all this afternoon. Bye-bye.
Good job, Noah.
If you have not followed his Triple H horse racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.